Hello, everyone. Hi. So I hope all of you are doing great. Welcome to another session. And today we will do a practice set of Tamil Nadu set. And here with me today, Ananya is here. So I will first share my screen. All right. All right. Okay. So Ananya, hi. Okay. So let's get started. Today we are doing Tamil Nadu set crash course day 4 and it's paper 2. So let's move on to our first question. The famous, yes. Ananya, would you like to read? I think you are on mute. There is no sound.
Okay, am I audible?
You're audible now.
So, the famous line, where ignorant armies clash by night, is taken from a poem by Dash. Is it Wilfred Owen, Matthew Arnold, W.H. Auden, or Siegfried Sassoon?
So guys, any idea? Yes, these lines have been taken from the very famous poem Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. So Dover Beach is a lyric poem by Matthew Arnold and it was first published in the 1876 in the collection New Poems. So famous poems, their important lines, their opening lines, all these are very important. Please do look up all the important poems, read more poems so that such questions can be very easy for you in the exam, right? Next question.
The Vakroti Siddhant was postulated by Dash. Is it Bharat, Kuntak, Anandvardhana, or Abhinav Gupta? The Vakroti Siddhant. It was postulated by either one of these, either Bharat or Kuntak or Anandvardhan or Abhinav Gupta.
Okay. So the Vakrokta Siddhanta, it was postulated by none other than Kuntaka. Kuntaka was a Sanskrit poetician and literary theorist who is remembered for his work Vakrokti Vitam, in which he postulates the Vakrokti Siddhanta or theory of oblique expression, which considers as the hallmark of all creative literature. So according to Kuntaka, oblique expression is the hallmark of all creative literature, and Kuntaka postulated this Vakrokti Siddhanta. Sanskrit poetics is very important. The rasas, this theorists, what did they postulate? In which era? In which work was it postulated? How does it contribute to the classical Indian oeuvre? It's very important for any exam these days. Indian literature and culture, Sanskrit poetics, very, very important. Please do study about all these things in extreme details. Right. Next.
The line, "Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song," was borrowed by Eliot from Dash. Is it the brook, Prothalamion, the shepherd's calendar, or the rape of Lucrece? The line, "Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song." It was borrowed by Eliot in The Wasteland from the brook, or Prothalamion, or the shepherd's calendar, or the rape of Lucrece.
Very good. Okay, so these lines, "Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song." This line has been quoted from Edmund Spenser's very famous work, Prothalamion. Prothalamion is the spousal verse which was written in the honor of the double marriages of Lady Elizabeth and Lady Catherine Somerset. It's a poem and it was published in 1596. It's a nuptial song, means it's a marriage song that Spenser composed that year on the occasion of the twin marriage of the daughters of Earl of Worcester. There is Elizabeth Somerset and Catherine Somerset. So it's a nuptial song, prothalamian or a spousal verse made by Edmund Spenser. It's a nuptial song. It's a marriage song written to celebrate the double marriages of the two daughters of the Earl of Worcester. It was published in 1596. Please do look up all the works of Spenser, the Fairy Queen, Epithalamion, Prothalamion, Amority. All of his works are very important. The publication years, the chronology, the Shepherd's Calendar, all of these works are very important. Do look up all of this. The characters, chronology, important lines, the opening lines, very important. Next.
The critic who classified Indian society into the barbarians, the Philistines, and the populace is dash. Either Matthew Arnold or John Ruskin or William Hazlitt or Raymond Williams. Which critic who classified Indian society into the barbarians, the Philistines, and populace is from either Arnold or John Ruskin or William Hazlitt or Raymond Williams?
Okay. So it is very popularly known that in Culture and Anarchy, Matthew Arnold divides society into three classes. Barbarians means the landed aristocracy, Philistines, the middle class, bankers, artisans, and shop owners, and populace means the commoners, wage laborers, tenants, and so on. And this classification was made in his very famous work, Culture and Anarchy. Matthew Arnold was a poet and a wonderful critique of Victorian culture and literature. His works of criticism, his critical essays, his poems, very important. Please do look up. They are really important, not only in terms of literary criticism, but also cultural studies as well, because he was the first critic to talk about high culture and how low culture or democracy can bring about the ruin of a society. Right, next.
Who were the first editors of the first folio? Sorry, who were the editors of the first folio of the plays of Shakespeare? Was it Edmund Blount and Isaac Jagard, or John Hemmings and Henry Condell, or Paul Edmondson and Stanley Wells, or Nicholas Rowe and William Warburton? Who were the editors of the first folio of the plays of Shakespeare?
Okay, so again, Shakespeare is someone whom we all know about really well. He is a stalwart, and his first folio was published in 1623. Its full title was Mr. William Shakespeare's Comedies, Histories, and Tragedies. So it was published in 1623, about 7 years after his death, and it is considered to be one of the most influential works ever in the canon of literature. And it was compiled by John Hemmings and Henry Condell. Again, the importance of Shakespeare is nothing new to us. We all know how his works have contributed to the oeuvre and to the canon. So please do look up all of his plays, characters, years, very important, and the classifications of his plays, like which were the early tragedies, early comedies, mature comedies, great tragedies, romances. So please do be very careful about these classifications, compilers, years, characters, opening lines, famous quotes, very important for any exam. Next.
The author of The Buddha of Suburbia is dash. Is it Vikram Seth, Vikram Chandra, Rohinton Mistry, or Hanif Qureshi? The author of The Buddha of Suburbia. This is the work. And the author is either Vikram Seth or Vikram Chandra or Rohinton Mistry or Hanif Qureshi.
Again, a very popular novel, The Buddha of Suburbia, and it has been written by Hanif Qureshi. So it's a 1990 novel by Hanif Qureshi. It won the Whitbread Award for the best first novel, and The Buddha of Suburbia. It's an autobiographical work which talks about Karim, a mixed-race teenager who is desperate to escape suburban South London and to have new experiences in London in the 1970s. So please remember, like, who is the protagonist? That it is an autobiographical novel. It is set in 1970s London. So you know those minute details, setting, year, there is publication year, protagonist. All these are very important facts about any work. So please keep an eye for minute details like this. So The Buddha of Suburbia by Hanif Qureshi. Right. Next.
Hamlet and Oedipus, 1948, was written by Dash. Carl Jung, Mary Bonaparte, Ernest Jones, or Jacques Lacan. Hamlet and Oedipus is a single title. It was written in 1948 and it is written by either Carl Jung or Mary Bonaparte or Ernest Jones or Jacques Lacan.
So it's a very famous work of psychoanalytic criticism, and it's by Ernest Jones. So Hamlet and Oedipus, it's a study of William Shakespeare's Hamlet, in which the title character's inexplicable behaviors are subjected to investigation along psychoanalytic lines. So Hamlet and Oedipus, it's a study of Shakespeare's Hamlet, where this character of Hamlet, his behaviors, his thoughts are studied along psychoanalytic lines. And it's a very famous work by Ernest Jones. Please do look up important works of psychoanalytic criticism. Very important for any exam. Next.
Dash is an extremely powerful novel written by D.H. Lawrence, which studies with great insight the relationship between son and mother. Is it either Lady Chatterley's Lover, or Sons and Lovers, or Women in Love, or The White Peacock? This is an extremely powerful novel written by D.H. Lawrence, and it studies the great insight of the relationship between son and mother. It is either Lady Chatterley's Lover, or Sons and Lovers, or Women in Love, or The White Peacock.
Again, we all know that D.H. Lawrence was one of the most powerful modernists alongside James Joyce and Virginia Woolf. So it is nothing new to us. All of his novels are actually very important, starting from The White Peacock, his debut novel. So here we're talking about Sons and Lovers. It's a 1913 novel by D.H. Lawrence, which stresses the emotional conflicts to the protagonist Paul Morel and his suffocating relationships with a demanding mother and two very different lovers, which exert complex influences on the development of his manhood. Again, a psychoanalytic strand is coming in, where we can talk about and explore the development of Paul Morel's self in interaction with his mother, his two lovers, and the society at large, right? So please do look up all the novels of D.H. Lawrence. They're extremely important. And not only just knowing it, also look up their summaries in details, because a question might come where you need to know the exact story, like what is happening. So please be very careful about all the modernist novels. They're very important. Next.
Coromandel Fishers and Palanquinbearers. These are poems by Dash. Is it either Toru Dutt or Sarojini Naidu or Amrita Preetham or Mahadevi Verma? Palanquinbearers is also a video in our YouTube channel. So you must know the answer. Is it either Toru Dutt or Sarojini Naidu or Amrita Preetham or Mahadevi Verma?
There's two of very popular poems of These two are very popular poems of Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu's debut poetry collection was The Golden Threshold. And all of her poems like Coromandel Fishers, Palanquinbearers, The Broken Wing, please do look up all of these poems, as you guys are seeing that these days in every exam. Indian literature, as I told you, is very important. So not only Naidu, but all the Indian poets They're important poems, important lines. Please do look up Indian literature really well. Okay, so Coromandel Fishers and Palanquinbearers are poems by Sarojini Naidu. Next.
Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit, is written by Dash. Is it Thomas Lodge, Bacon, Sidney, or John Lilly? Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit. This is the work, and it is written by either John Lodge, or Bacon, or Sidney, or John Lilly.
So Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit, it's a major work by the first prose stylist of English, that is John Lilly. John Lilly was the one in whose works we see the originating of the style of euphuism, which refers to a very grand, eloquent style of writing. And this Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit, it's a didactic romance by Lilly, which was published in 1578. And it was followed by Euphues and his England. The name Euphues has been derived from Greek, meaning graceful and witty. So again, we know that John Lilly was a university wit. He was the first major prose stylist of English. He was most famous for writing only comedies. So do look up all the university wits, not only Lilly. They know their names, know their works, know how they contributed to the rising landscape of English drama, because they were also contemporaries of Shakespeare. They were also writing at the same time when Shakespeare was writing, right? So try to understand the politics, like how their interests and ideologies were coming in conflict with that of Shakespeare, how they contributed, how their writing style, how their education was different from Shakespeare, Ben Jonson. They were not university educated, but these university wits, they had either studied from Oxford or Cambridge. Their writing style was different. The plays they were bringing in were much different. So please do look up all the university wits, their writing style, their works, chronology, why they were important for the landscape of English drama or English literature, right? Okay. Okay. So here we have a reminder for you all. Many of you already know about the certificate course, which is going on now on Indian literatures in translation. This course has got started from today and it will continue till April 9th. And Dr. Preetha Vasan is running this course on Indian literatures in translation. So here we will cover classical period, medieval period, nationalist period, and also partition literature. This course has already got started from today. If you haven't enrolled in this course yet, please do hurry. And it's a wonderful course. You will get to learn a lot and it will help you in all of your upcoming exams, be it a SET exam, NET, or any PSC exam or any interview you are hoping to crack. Attend this course. This course will create your base also in Indian literatures, right? So attend this course, enroll in this course now if you haven't yet. Right. Next.
What is common to poor folk, Les Miserables, Mother, and Germinal? They are utopian novels, they are satires, they are about the underprivileged, or they are about industrial societies. What is common to poor folk, Les Miserables, and Mother and Germinal? They're either utopian novels or satires, or they're about the underprivileged, or they're about industrial societies.
Okay. So let me first tell you, as you can already see here, Poorfolk, it's a novel by Dostoevsky. Les Miserables, it's a novel by Victor Hugo. And Germinal, it's a novel by Emile Zola, right? And the question is, what is common among these three novels? The common factor is they are about the underprivileged. If we look at the plot lines of these three novels, we will see how three of these novels talk about the poverty-stricken and pitiful conditions of the poor people in a society, how they suffer not only from various injustices but also from physical suffering like hunger, starvation, lack of employment opportunities, the unhygienic conditions they live in, right? So these three novels, They talk about the underprivileged, the poor people, right? So please do look up all these novels. European literature is also very important. Don't ignore European literature completely. Right, next.
Bruno Latour and Steve Bulgar inaugurated a new wave of cultural studies of science with the publication of Dash. Is it laboratory life, social construction of scientific facts, against method, or higher superstition? Bruno Latour and Steve Bulgar, they inaugurated a new wave of cultural studies of science with the publication of either of the following: laboratory lab, or construction, social construction of scientific facts, or against method, or higher superstition.
Okay. So here we have a question on cultural studies and also a new wave of cultural studies of science. So which is that work? It is Laboratory Life, the social construction of scientific facts. It's a book by sociologists of science, Bruno Latour and Steve Woolgar. It's a very important work in the field of science studies, and it presents an anthropological study of Roger Guillemann's scientific laboratory at the Salk Institute. It advances a number of observations regarding how scientific work is conducted, including descriptions of the complex relationship between the routine lab practices performed by scientists, the publication of papers, scientific prestige, research finances, and other elements of laboratory life. It's a wonderful work. Please do look up new works on cultural studies which have heralded a new wave altogether in this field of study. So laboratory life is one, a work which talks about all the basic elements of a laboratory life. Okay, next.
Call me Mary Betton, Mary Seton, Mary Carmichael, or by any name you please. Who introduces herself in this way? Mary Barton in the novel by Elizabeth Gaskell, Mary Shelley in an autobiographical essay, the imaginary narrator in A Room of One's Own, or a character in Vanity Fair. This is a very famous quote. Call me Mary Betton, Mary Seton, Mary Carmichael, or by any name you please. So who introduces herself in this way?
Okay. So as you all know already, it is the imaginary narrator in A Room of One's Own. A Room of One's Own is an extended essay by Virginia Woolf, first published in September 1929, and the work is based on 2 lectures. Please note, this work is based on 2 lectures delivered by Virginia Woolf in October at Newham College and Girton College. There is women's colleges at the University of Cambridge. And it's a work which is considered as almost a manifesto of feminism, a work which talks about the rights of women, not only in the sphere of the private room, but also in the public sphere. The rights a woman can exert in the public sphere, especially here in the sphere of education, of job opportunities. So here she talks about the politics of her gender, like how her gender doesn't have any fixed anchor as such. For her, though gender is a social construct, for her, her self is a fluid self. It's a fluid identity which can be recognized or identified by any name, be it of a female name or male name. For her, for Woolf, her identity is a fluid one. There are gendered construct. There the conceptions of society cannot anchor her identity into a fixed state because her gender or for her identity is fluid. And that's why she prefers to be identified by any name possible. Okay, next.
The essays of Elia were originally published in Dash. Is it Rambler, Tatler, New York Times, or the London Magazine? The essays of Elia were originally published in either Rambler or Tatler, or New York Times, or London Magazine?
We all know it's a very famous collection of essays by Charles Lamb, and it was published in London Magazine. So, Essays of Elia, it's a collection of essays by Lamb, first published in book form in 1823, and its second volume came out in 1833 by the publisher Edward Moxon. The essays in the collection first began appearing in the London Magazine in 1820 and continued to 1825. Again, the chronology of the magazines, periodicals, very important. All the magazines across the decades, not only of the West, but also of our India. If you haven't watched our session on Indian magazines yet, please do look up. These days, questions can even come from Indian magazines. So please do look up all magazines, both of East and West, important magazines, especially in terms of literature. Look up their chronology, the founders of those magazines, the popular works which got published in those magazines, right? Okay, next.
Look Back in Anger is a tirade against dash. Is it the working class, the establishment, warmongering, or science? Look Back in Anger is a tirade. It is against either the working class or the establishment or warmongering or science.
So as you all know, it's a very popular realist play by John Osborne, which talks about the struggles and life of an intelligent but educated man of working class origin, Jimmy Porter, and his equally competent yet impassive upper middle class wife, Allison. And here we see throughout the play the frustrations which build up in Porter against the establishment, against the injustices and the tyrannical nature of the establishment, and how this establishment of the government, say, is responsible for these sufferings of the working class, how they're exploited every day, right? So it's a realist play by John Osborne. Please do look up all the modernist plays, very important. The major themes, recurrent motives, main characters, the main topic of exploration. Please do look up these ideas. Next.
The novel Ulysses ends with dash. The interior monologue of Molly Bloom, the soliloquy of Leopard Bloom, the ruminations of Stephen Dedalus, or a street scene in Dublin. The novel Ulysses ends with either of the following. Is it either the interior monologue of Molly Bloom, a character from Ulysses, or the soliloquy of Leopard Bloom, or the ruminations of Stephen Dedalus, or a street scene in Dublin?
Okay, so we all know Ulysses is again a masterpiece of modernism, published in 1922. And this work ends with the interior monologue of Molly Bloom, right? So it was first serialized in the American Journal. This novel was first serialized in the American Journal, the Little Review. And the entire work was published in Paris by Sylvia Beach. It is considered one of the most important works of modernist literature, and it has been called a demonstration and summation of the entire movement of modernism. And this novel very popularly ends with a long interior monologue of Molly Bloom. This work is based on Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey. And here the characters also correspond to those ancient characters. Like here, Molly Bloom represents Penelope. Here, Molly Bloom represents Penelope. And this novel ends with her interior monologue. Interior monologue means a constant monologue where she talks about her feelings, inner experiences, the constant streaming of her own thoughts, active conscious thoughts, stream of active conscious thoughts of Molly Bloom. Right, next.
Uncle Tom is a character in a work by dash. Either Mark Twain, or Harriet Beecher Stowe, or Herman Melville, or Tennessee Williams. Uncle Tom is a character in a work by either Mark Twain or Harriet Beecher Stowe or Herman Melville or Tennessee Williams.
Okay. So it is the work which triggered American Civil War between North and South of America on the issue of slavery. And it is a work by Harriet Beecher Stowe. It is called Uncle Tom's Cabin or Life Among the Lowly. It is indeed this work which had inspired or triggered Abraham Lincoln to wage this war on the South of America, which kept slaves and tortured them brutally. It's the work which attacked the institution of slavery, attacked rather the horrors of the institution of slavery. And so Uncle Tom's Cabin or Life Among the Lowly, it's an anti-slavery novel written by Harriet Beecher Stowe, and it was published in 2 volumes. And this novel traces the profound effect and attitudes towards African Americans and slavery in the US, and is said to have helped lay the groundwork for the American Civil War. Very profound work by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Next.
Identify the work that is not by Jacques Derrida. Is it either of grammatology or of hospitality, being and nothingness, or the beast and the sovereign? So you have to identify the work that is not by Jacques Derrida. Of grammatology, of hospitality, being and nothingness, or the beast and the sovereign.
Here we can very popularly recognize the works which are by Derrida, except one. So here, Being and Nothingness, it's not a work by Derrida, it's rather by the existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. So Being and Nothingness, an essay on phenomenological ontology. So it's a 1943 book by the philosopher and existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre. In the book, Sartre develops a philosophical account in support of his existentialism, dealing with topics such as consciousness, perception, social philosophy, self-deception, the existence of nothingness, psychoanalysis, and the question of free will. So as you already know, Sartre was a giant of a scholar. He was a giant of a scholar. He was a wonderful existentialist like Albert Camus. All of his works like Nausea, Being and Nothingness, very important. Do look them up. Get to know what are the ideas he is associated with, how those ideas have developed across the decades, how they can be employed, or how they can be applied to other works of literature. Please do look up this existentialist philosophers, very important, right? Next.
Lajja is a work by Dash, either Yasmin Gunaratne or Taslima Nasreen or Edwin Thumbu or Romesh Gunasekera. Lajja is a very popular work. Is it either by Yasmin Gunaratne, Tasmina Nasreen, Edwin Thumbu or Romesh Gunasekere?
As you already have guessed from the picture, it's a wonderful work by Taslima Nasreen. She's a writer from Bangladesh, and the word lajja or lajja means shame in Bengali. This book was written about the violence, rape, looting, and killings of Bengali Hindus that took place in December 1992, after the destruction of Babri Masjid took place in India. And the book was first published in 1993 in Bengali, and it was subsequently banned in Bangladesh. So again, Taslima Nasreen, a wonderful radical writer. Do look up her works and other writers of Bangladesh. And so I think that was the last question for today. So, and before we end up the session for tonight, we would like to remind you all that if you haven't yet enrolled in our course on Indian literatures in translation, please do hurry. We have already started this course from today, and it will continue till April 9. So the contact number you can see, it's there on the screen. Please feel free to text in that number to address your further queries and enroll quickly if you haven't yet. All right, so I really hope you guys enjoyed the discussion today. I really hope it will help you for your exam. And Ananya, did you like the session?
Yes, it was really interesting, and it helped me revise. It will help us revise a very wide range of topics that we really need to cover in the exams.
Yes. So if you liked our session, please do like the video and share it with your friends. And see you all again tomorrow at 9 with a new practice test. All right. So shall we end up the session, Ananya?